They say every Skyrim tutorial begins the same way, cheerful voice, calm tone, no hint of danger. But tonight's walkthrough isn't like the others. This one isn't about completing a quest. It's about finishing something that was never meant to be finished. When I first entered the ruins of Mzulft, I was looking for simple footage, just enough to teach viewers how to complete the Oculory Puzzle. And the metallic corridors breathed like lungs. Every clank of my armor echoed too long, like the stone-remembered sound. Steam hissed from the walls, and beneath it all was a whisper, so low I thought it was static in my headset. It said something like, "Align the eyes." I laughed, because of course, that's what the quest tells you to do. But it didn't sound like a hint, it sounded like a warning. The deeper I went, the more I felt watched, not by enemies or traps, but by the ruins themselves. When I reached the oculary chamber, I expected the usual glow, the beam of light slicing through the cold air. Instead, the light bent in wrong directions, like something invisible was shifting the reflection. I aimed a crystal, but my mouse drifted without input. My screen flickered, just once. When it came back, the character was staring directly into the sphere, and the sphere blinked. At first, I thought it was a mod bug. Skyrim is famous for that bodies floating, textures stretching, but this wasn't a glitch. The metal iris of the oculary opened, revealing something that looked like a pupil made of glass. When I moved left, it followed. When I whispered, "What the hell?" it whispered it back, but slower. I tried to move, but my controls froze, and the camera panned upward on its own. My character looked at the ceiling, where faint shadows flickered like silhouettes behind the metal, shapes of people, or maybe not people at all, pressed against the brass, stretching it from the inside. I reached to close the game, but the pause menu didn't appear. Instead, text appeared across the top of the screen. "Do you see it yet?" My recording software froze, and my webcam light turned on by itself. I saw my own reflection in the black screen before the game loaded again, except this time I was standing closer to the The voices inside it grew louder, merging into a low, human hum. I heard something like breathing, but it wasn't coming from my headset, it was behind me. I turned so fast that my chair hit the desk. Nothing there. When I looked back at the monitor, my character was gone. The camera floated toward the center of the room, toward the opening eye. I don't know how long I stared into that eye, but something started to change in the room around me. My computer's fan grew quieter. The sound of the oculory blended into the walls. The light from my monitor painted the room in that same pale blue ID scene in the ruins. I blinked, and for a second, it felt like I was there standing in that ancient chamber, the smell of steam and dust in my lungs. The textures weren't digital anymore. The metal glistened weightly, like veins beneath skin. The whisper came again, revealing the unseen. Then my screen cut to static, but the static wasn't normal white noise. It moved like a living thing, forming outlines of faces pressing against the inside of my monitor. Their mouths opened, but no sound came out. I tried to unplug everything, but even after I pulled the cables, the monitor stayed lit, humming softly. The game loaded again, slower this time, showing my save file corrupted. A new one appeared below it, labeled simply "U." I hadn't typed that. I clicked it, without thinking, some instinct deeper than reason. The load screen took longer than usual, and the ambient music had changed. It wasn't music at all, just a heart beating, deep and wet. When the game finally loaded, the oculary chamber was gone. I was in my room, or something trying to look like it. Skyrim's engine had recreated everything. My desk, my chair, my microphone. The only difference was that everything was rusted, soaked, ancient. My digital self sat where I sat, motionless, staring at a glowing sphere that hovered in the corner. I whispered into the mic, "Is this part of the game?" The voice that answered came from inside my headset. It wasn't mine. "You've already completed the puzzle," it said. "Now reveal what it showed you." My camera spun around, and I caught a glimpse of something in the corner, a tall figure made of brass and bone, its joints clicking softly as it moved. It wore no armor, no clothes, just smooth metal skin. Its face was blank, but where the eyes should have been were the faintly glowing points of blue light, rotating like the oculary itself. It reached toward the screen, and my lights flickered again. The walls around me seemed to breathe, slow and heavy. My monitor dimmed, and for a split second, I saw my reflection on it. Except the reflection smiled. The next morning, I woke up on the floor, surrounded by cold air. My PC was still on, and Skyrim was open to the pause menu. But the text was different. It said, "Revealing the Forgotten." My recording file was still running. Primera repla, jedit. But the video showed something else entirely. I wasn't narrating a tutorial. I was whispering to someone off screen, begging them to stop. The audio in the background wasn't static anymore. It was breathing, slow and wet, syncing with mine. I uploaded the file to see if anyone else experienced it, and comments began pouring in within hours. Some said they heard the whisper too, right before their screens flickered. A few claimed their reflections lagged half a second behind their movements. One viewer said the brass sphere appeared in their own save file after watching. Another claimed to have found a new room under Mzulft version of the Oculory that doesn't exist in the official map. No coordinates. No exit. Only a pulsating blue light and the faint shape of a human face pressed inside it. I tried to warn people not to replicate what I'd done, but the more I told them, the more they searched for it. Take Ayadit, the unseen version. Some even streamed it live. None of their streams stayed up for long. Now, weeks later, I still hear the humming when my house gets quiet. Sometimes it comes from the pipes, sometimes from my PC tower, even when it's unplugged. Last night, I turned my monitor to face the wall, but I still saw the glow reflecting on the floor. I swear I caught movement in it, something pacing, just beyond the edge of the screen. I've stopped playing Skyrim, but the Oculory sound follows me from room to room, as though something's still aligning those lenses somewhere, searching for light to focus through. My last attempt to delete the game failed. It reinstalls itself, always under a different name. Sometimes it calls itself Guide, sometimes Vision, but when I launch it, the same text appears. Welcome back, adventurer. Continue revealing the unseen. And when I do, my webcam turns on by itself. I don't know how many more times I'll see that reflection before it stops being mine. If you're still here, still watching, and you're tempted to open Skyrim after this, and if you already have, keep every mirror in your room covered tonight. Because the Oculory isn't just a puzzle, it's an invitation. If you still think this was just another Skyrim story, try opening your own game and listen closely when you reach Mzulft. If you hear breathing behind the static, it's already too late. The Oculory sees through everything light, glass, even time. And if your monitor flickers right now, don't touch it. Don't move. Just wait. Because the next reflection might not blink when you do. And when it finally looks away, that's when it steps out. If you still want to know what it revealed, if you want to see what was on the other side of that lens, click the next video. But do it only if you're ready to lose what's left of your reflection.